Good day to everyone. I hope everyone is safe and sound in this pandemic scenario. And my name is Vivek Jayashree Mohandas. I am a German Chancellor Fellow from the Alexander Van Humboldt Foundation and also co-founder of the Circular Collective from India. So I will be discussing on frugal innovation as an enabler for circular economy in this present context, and I will be discussing cases also from the current pandemic scenario on how it has innovation has been made, how it has affected our lives, and what are the future possibilities. So, as an overview, I will be discussing the rationale on combining frugal innovation and circular economy. Selected case studies would be discussed, pre-corona times and post-corona, and what would be the future. Now, understanding how the innovations are happening and what frugal innovations will contribute to the industry 4.0 and changing and adapting and evolving to the scenarios of economy and business, and finally, few takeaways from this presentation. Before starting that, let me discuss what is anthroposphere. So we humans have been occupying the planet, utilizing the resources, technical and biological nutrients have been used by us humans, and we have been evolving with our science and technology, cultural beliefs, economic preferences, technological know-how. So we humans have been evolving continuously. So has been the use of our resources. But is there a limit? Yes, of course, we will find the limit of use of resources. As you can see in the 2014 report by United Nations Environmental Program, the raw material consumption has been growing exponentially. And it is also expected that so if the current rate of growth of cities happen, by in 2050, 66% of population will be staying in cities as compared to 55% in 2014. Now, how do we combine circular economy and frugal innovation? Circular economy is itself a regenerative and restorative concept, which involves elements of design thinking and innovative business models. And the innovations most happen with frugal mindsets, creative thinking, design thinking. And this has deep roots in global south and has been very popular in the global south due to the lack of resources, lack of technical know-how, etc. And it has become now so much popular in all developed and developing countries. Interestingly, in 1830s, there was a book written in US, The Frugal Housewife, which tells the same context by Miss Child. She discusses about taking back the glass bottles to the apothecaries and groceries after use. And she mentions that it is important to conserve time as well as material resources. So this is something that we have to understand. This concept has been inside humanity for a long time. Now, frugal innovation, it is not alone a strategy. We have to think resources are scarce, so we have to find proper opportunities to conserve and use the resources. The products must be designed so that the core functions are met and there are no much engineering, over engineering happening. Most importantly, the key principles as laid out by Navi Rajo and Professor Jaydeep Prabhu from University of Cambridge, who are pioneers in frugal innovation, are the first one, build circular value networks. So when you understand circular value networks, it means the resources must be used to the fullest potential within an organization. There shall not be any wastage. Even if waste happens, it must be an input to some other companies or some other organizations. Now, another important idea is crowdsourcing. Now, crowdsourcing the solutions, crowdsourcing and crowdfunding, it helps new forms of organizations and innovations. The prices as well as ideas get evolved, and this also helps in the long run of the companies to diversify the products according to the needs of the society. The third one is simplify the structures and empower the employees. So the human capital for any organization is very essential. And this human capital has to be accounted and has to be diversified. When new technology comes, when new idea comes, the companies have to support the human capital for its growth, and this empowerment of human capital will help in the, of course, growth of the company or the organization, as well as the growth of a country as a whole. The point number 4 is using KPIs for measuring the frugal innovations. The key performance indicator measurement of the frugal innovations ideas will help in promotion of frugal systems across the supply chain, and this will be a motivation for different organizations to take up this idea, and also will get policy backing supports. And finally, evangelize the concept of circular economy and frugal innovation, whichever platforms are possible. So to summarize the frugal innovation, this slide tells us ideation for innovation. Innovations must be happening with adequate design thinking. Of course, resource constraints are the major factor that forces us to do this process. And also explore the untapped markets, the various products and services, but keep in mind the basic functionality requirements which the customer needs. So there is a requirement which is driven by the customer, market, and finally the technology know-how, which can be crowdsourced, which can be developed by a group of company people. So it can be the process of ideation. So this process of ideation and design thinking is crucial for a frugal innovation. Now let me discuss some cases from pre-pandemic times where frugal ideas existed in a local level, and these local ideas are actually part of the circular economy action plan. So I'll be discussing a building case scenario from Netherlands, a city called Kerkrade. So this city, there are several multi-storied buildings which are not occupied right now. They are empty. So the city administration decided to tear down these buildings and make small social housing units out of this multi-storied building. So as you see here, the huge unoccupied buildings are torn down and the small housing units are being developed. And important part is that there is a social concept, social enterprise in this developmental process, which will definitely be one of the important elements for innovation, the social innovation, the social element of circular economy. So this is a social circular economy supported by frugal innovations happening. Another example is from Germany, where the buildings, the military buildings from bunkers are now converted to, are having converted to residential buildings. Another interesting case comes from India, especially Mumbai. So this is the famous tiffin service in Mumbai, which has been existing for over 120 years. It started in 1890, and this basically uses frugal ideas or frugal mindset, and the carbon footprint associated with this supply chain is very minimum. So let me explain this process. So what happens is, as you can see, this is the color coding associated with the supply chain of food delivery services. When a person, a dabbawala as referred, he or she collects the material from the household, delivers the food tiffin box to the respective person who stays at a long distance. So there will be color coding. As you can see, there will be a resident station pick code, a code which is marked on the top of the different box, if you may say. And then there will be a station code. So they use the local transport networks for transport of food items, the train, and they use bicycle, so that the footprint is very low associated for transport of this fresh homemade food. And this color coding, as you see, then there will be a destination pickup code, then destination address code, the final destination where the food has to be delivered in the tiffin box, and finally the destination station code from which this will be supplied. And this system then, once the lunch has been taken by the person, this will be sent back using the same color code system to the household from where the tiffin box had come. So this system had been working with very minimum error, and it's told that the efficiency of this process is 99.99999, 99 followed by 99 point followed by 69. So such is the efficiency of the process. And they also work during rains and all the calamities, and they are so much efficient. So such a frugal system exists country like India. Now let's look into the COVID era. So this is decathlon, the famous sports products company, hiking and camping products company. So the product, the snorkeling mask, has been modified or adapted according to the need in Spain for providing ventilator facility. Similar idea has also been developed by Stanford University students for providing ventilator, and that is a reusable mask from the, or they had developed a reusable mask from the scuba gear. Another idea comes from the Wall Street Journal. So this is a situation where you have to quarantine a lot of people who were traveling. So as you can see, this is me. I was traveling from Germany to India, and as you can see, my hand was stamped with an ink. This ink stays in your hand for more than 2 weeks, nearly 2 weeks, and 14 days is the quarantine period in India. And this was a way of utilizing the ink which was originally meant for Indian electoral system. So this is used in the Indian electoral system, and this was used for stamping the hands of the passengers who arrived from international flights and sent for 14 days quarantine. And this is how the existing technology, existing machinery, existing ideas can be redefined or repurposed for the need of the moment. Another example again comes from Mumbai. Mumbai has a huge population, and there are several cases of the pandemic, because of which there was a need of developing beds. So these beds, as you can see, is made out of cardboard box. And this was supplied by an organization, by a company based in Gujarat. And they have supplied more than 5,000 beds out of cardboard, and they plan to recycle at the end of life of this product, and they can reuse it again. As you can see, this is how the product has been assembled, and it is very effective. This is a mindset, and this is the idea that we need to develop. Another idea comes from University of Cambridge. This is an open source ventilator system, and this is exclusively for low and middle income countries. So such open source systems are the need of the hour, and people are ready to open the system, open the idea so that it can be easily adopted in any part of the world. Another idea comes from India, where Indian railway transport network is huge, and currently, due to the pandemic, it has been disrupted. So the trains have been converted to isolation wards, and this can move anywhere in the country according to the rising number of cases. So this is how the frugal mindset should work, how to use the existing resources to the fullest possible. So there could be possibilities of constructing new buildings, but at the same time, if we can use the existing machinery or existing assets, then that would be less resource intensive process. Another example comes from southern part of Kerala, which is southern part of India, which is Kerala. So it is famous for tourism, and these are the houseboats which are maintained for tourism purposes. But currently, since the tourism market is disrupted, the government of Kerala has decided to convert these houseboats as isolation wards. And this is how the frugal mindset should work. Now, after Corona, what would be the scenarios? So once the European countries have started relaxing their regulations, so this is a scene from Amsterdam, where the restaurants are open now with glass houses, which will be open for the diners, and there will be no or less exposure from the people who will be serving the food. They will be serving inside the restaurant and with a long stick, so that they are not in direct contact with the diner. Another example comes during the Corona period was from China, where Xiaomi, they had a new product launch online. So it was a 72-hour product launch as compared to the regular big product launch events. So this is how the companies are evolving themselves to the present scenario. And this will gradually become the usual, the business as usual. Now let's understand the different innovations. So various innovations happening in the pandemic scenario. We are seeing a development of several face masks, face shields. What is the underlying frugality? It is reusing the access to the fullest potential. There might be challenges associated with durability and potential to shield, but this will be effective to ensure social distancing and the ideal workforce self-help groups, especially in low and middle income countries, can be empowered and they can earn revenue by constructing this mask and face shields. Now, for quarantining or isolation of the patients, we have seen that as in India, where the trains were converted to isolation coaches, houseboats converted into isolation wards, use the existing resources to the fullest potential. How we can use them? There might be challenges associated with approval, associated with the build, or associated with the infrastructure, but it can be an inspiration for many other future epidemics or future natural disasters, accommodating people during such scenario, etc. Then comes the important aspect of empowerment of the natural and human capital. The human capital has been empowered to the fullest mode. People are taking courses, people are trying to volunteer themselves and adjust to the scenario. They want to help the communities, and this makes the human resource prepared for future challenges. Now, frugally made ventilators, as you can see, there is a repurpose or reuse of existing machinery, and this is coupled with new technology like 3D printing, which helps in effective use of existing resources. So new technology can be an add-on which helps frugal development, and this is also combined with open source designs. Now, businesses are trying to evolve themselves to cater the needs of sanitizer, mass production, ventilator, the existing supply chains of many industries like alcohol making industry, car making industry. All these industries are trying to modify their supply chain, finding new products of business, revenue generation, and also ensuring physical and mental health for the employees or the workers. The rise of digital platforms in the frugal innovation space is astounding. We have now video conferencing platforms, Zoom, Google Meets evolving, and there are several other delivery services which are becoming so popular in this pandemic era. So this will become a gradual business option, and people have to think about how to adjust to this kind of new business models. Thinking about innovation. So let's start thinking about three types or three systems. The first one will be the triple helix system, where the academia, business, and public sector work together and helps in innovative process. But moving to the next step, the civil society has a say, and this becomes a vital part of development. And once you move to quintuple helix, the nature has a vital role. Nature-based systems, nature-based solutions play a vital role. So the quintuple helix is the ideal way how the industry 4.0 must evolve. So to discuss more about the quintuple helix model, as you can see, there are so many capitals which are not properly accounted, or these are being lost. The externalities basically are not accounted. As you see, the political capital, this helps in the development of a political will, political system, which drives or forces innovation. Education helps in development of human capital. Once empowered, the human capital will be an asset to the society and economy. This will not only be a combination of skill sets, but also a contribution to the company where the people are working, as well as to the entire society. And this also drives innovation. This also drives innovation through ideation process. Once the human capital is empowered, let's think about the economic capital. The economic capital is very vital, and this economic capital drives innovation, new sharing models, new product systems, new business models. Digital platforms encourages innovation. Most importantly, maximum use of resources with minimum wastage helps in ensuring that the natural capital is conserved. There is less wastage. Once the empowerment of natural capital, there will be social enterprises, social development with all the technological development. The society gets empowered, then social capital raises, and the social capital forces innovation to happen. So all these innovative spaces within the sustainable development framework helps drive towards a circular sustainable system. Now let's think about frugal innovation in the context of the industry 4.0. So the industry 4.0 is evolving the cyber physical biological system. But it is important to link the frugal innovation to the ecosystem governance, new forms of social and technological development. For instance, 3D printing, Internet of Things are gradually evolving. This has to be connected to the social enterprises, the social development, which will force the community to grow as a whole. Most importantly, the nature-based solutions have to gain importance, and design thinking and citizen science have a crucial role. The innovation should be disruptive so that it disrupts the current linear economic pattern. Most importantly, to reinforce there is no concept of waste, everything is a resource. Once you start empowering the social enterprises, there will be a social solidarity model that gradually evolves. Such model of the economy, a social solidarity economy, coupled with circular economy, is one of the visions of Paris City. So Paris City has adopted such a model for development where social enterprises are given due importance with importance to the local context. So frugal innovations are vital in the local context, which supports the circular transitions. Frugal innovation is the fabric which holds the circular economy framework. Now, how to adapt to the changing scenarios? Local sourcing, again, is the best possible idea. The local sourcing can be done for ideas, resources, both natural and human capital. Broaden the perspectives of employees. Employees should be empowered with new ideas, new concepts, new trainings, and autonomous institutional level innovation is essential so that environmentally conscious and resource scarce quintuple helix context where all the stakeholders can co-create and mainstream adopt such innovations. Redefine and reevaluate all the ideas so that resilience can be imparted. Organizations, citizens, public authorities must be ready to take in criticism and open for feedback, both internal as well as external. So just to conclude, the key takeaways would be understanding that there is a systemic thinking and interdependencies existing in our society, economy, and environment. Most importantly, the fabric of circular economy is defined by frugal innovation. And it is essential that there has to be a partnership, collaboration between various organizations, companies, so that challenge can be identified and process can be facilitated. Innovative business models, finance models have to come out, and this should be backed by business and policy groups. This will support new ideas for market entry, segmentation, commercial viability, and finally distribution. And finally, it is essential that the new technologies, new ideas have to be understood. It has to be adopted and adapted according to the context, and frugal innovation is then only possible. Thank you for the time. And if you have any queries, if you have any suggestions, please contact me in this mail ID. I would also be happy to connect you in LinkedIn. And I wish everyone a good time ahead and stay safe. Wishing you a good weekend. Thank you. Thanks a lot.